Good evening, everyone.
Can you have someone just like do one
Hi, sir.
favor
Good
to like
evening.
Good evening. Hi, Shobh. How are you?
Doing great, sir. How are you?
All well? And how's Mumbai?
Sir, quite hot right now. It was quite cold before like 10-15 days, but now it's been quite humid these days.
Okay, the usual, basically.
Yeah, usual.
Good. So, welcome everyone to our set of live sessions for SBL. Let me first of all give you an idea of how these sessions are going to be and what is it that I expect from you. I have uploaded a set of 40 videos on the YouTube channel, which basically give you a rundown on all the important topics in SBL. Now, the thing about SBL as opposed to every other paper in ACCA is that, see, this paper does not test you on any technical expertise. This paper does not test you on any great source of knowledge. It does nothing of the sort. What SBL basically tries to see is whether you have the ability to look at a case study and try to give convincing answers on the basis of pure common sense. And while this might sound a little difficult to believe, once we start doing the past exam questions, you will get an understanding that whatever you are doing in SBL is primarily an outcome of common sense. There's nothing else apart from that. There is nothing else apart from that which is involved. Now, in SBR Bolo, in ATX Bolo, you need to learn a lot of provisions. In AFM, you do need to be very, very confident with a lot of concepts, and you need to basically apply your mind when you are answering questions. I will never call, these papers as dumb papers. Even in AAA, you really have to get the DNA of the paper in terms of, how to define materiality. And there are certain rules that we follow in each of these exams. That's not the case in SBL. Does that mean that the entire paper is it's just based on guesswork? No. That is one area where most of the students make a mistake. Either they over prepare, as in they spend a lot of time learning topics that are given in Kaplan or that are given on the study hub, which in my opinion contribute to only 25% of what the paper is all about. So they spend a lot of time doing that, and they want to really apply those concepts the way they would have done it in other papers. Jaise in SBR, for example, IAS 37 ka, there are four conditions that are given to define a provision. And then you write down those conditions, you learn those conditions, and then you see whether those are applicable to the facts of your current situation. If all four conditions are fulfilled, you say that yes, a provision has to be created. People think of SBL like that, when they read Porter's five forces model, or when they read Mendelow's matrix, they're like, इसको ऐसे का ऐसा मैं apply करूंगा. I don't think that is going to be helpful in any way. The other end of the spectrum is basically students who don't prepare even one bit for the paper. They walk into the exam hall, guys, just give me one. Yes. So the other set of students who go to the paper are those, who don't prepare at all. Matlab, it's not even a position of being underprepared. It's basically a situation of no preparation. They walk into the exam hall, treat it like, some unseen passage that you get in your 10th standard or English paper, and then they end up not clearing. And then I get the same set of questions. I did everything, and why did I not clear? Let me tell you something. Even if you haven't watched a single video in the videos that I have uploaded, आपने एक भी वीडियो नहीं देखा होगा तो भी it's fine, because the expectation in the paper is very different. Don't walk into SBL believing that it is going to be exactly like SBR or exactly like AFM or exactly like ATX. This paper is a case study. Think of it like a case study, which you have to basically answer on the basis of certain data points that are given to you. ठीक है. अब these data points are given to you in two forms. There is something that is known as the pre-seen material, and then you have the actual exhibits in the paper on the basis of which questions have been framed. Now, to get an idea, the pre-seen material basically gives us a background of what is the industry and the company that is going to be tested in the paper. Like couple of attempts ago, the case study was based on a company which is into delivering pre-made meal boxes. So you have around basically 5 pages of information which speak about the industry you are operating in, and the next 5 pages are about the company. So you get extracts of the website of the company, you get some information about the board structure of the company, then you get information in more detail about certain financial metrics of the company, you get to know who your competitors are, you get to know the environment in which you are operating. तो पहले पूरा इंडस्ट्री का नॉलेज होता है फॉर 5 pages, देन यू हैव 5 pages worth of company information. The first page is index, so pre-seen material जो होता है that is basically 11 pages. Since the time ACCA has started that, it has always been that way. And later on, so you get this information 14 days before the paper. ठीक है. So your paper is on Tuesday, right? 3rd of March को आपका पेपर है SBL का. So calculate 2 weeks before that. ठीक है. On that date, people who have filled the form for SBL, they will get this notification. They can download the pre-seen material. Now, what we are going to do with that pre-seen material is we are going to analyze that pre-seen material in detail, and we are going to discuss, various facets. In the sense कि वो pre-seen material हम देखेंगे, we'll understand, what all models are applicable, what are different theories and frameworks can be applied. We'll do an analysis and we'll stop there. What we will ideally also be doing is we'll try to find out we'll try not to guess questions, but we'll try to guess question areas which can be tested in the paper. For example, every paper has some information or the other on board structure. Now, you must have seen there is a unitary board structure, there is a dual board structure. So all of these information points have been discussed in the videos that I have given you. So what we will be doing is we'll just try to build a connection कि हाँ, there is something on board structure, there is something on ratios. हम company के primary ratios will calculate. And you will be surprised to see that, see, paper mein there are 3 exhibits that are given to you, and then there are 3 primary tasks within which there are additional sub tasks that are given. You will be surprised that the importance of pre-seen material is only up to 20% in your entire paper. The paper has to be answered primarily on the basis of exhibits that are given to you. Now, what I did in the last quarter and in the quarters, specifically in the last quarter, I gave these set of recorded videos, and then I conducted these sessions throughout the month of November. December में exam था. Similarly, for you guys, your exam is in the month of March. I will be conducting these sessions throughout the month of February. I have released a timetable. There are some additional dates along with that जब session होगा. What you have to do is you have to follow up. From tomorrow onwards, I will give you specific tasks that I want you to do. आपको क्या करना है? Whatever I tell you to do on the group, just make sure that you go through that particular video, you go through that particular article, you go through that particular PDF. आपको बस उतना करना है पेपर के लिए, nothing else apart from that. On the YouTube channel, there are 3 past exam papers that I have already analyzed, और उसका full pre-seen and question solving is already there. I am doing 3 separate papers with you, जिसका first I'll teach you how to analyze pre-seen, then we'll understand how to answer questions that are based on the exhibits. ठीक है. Along with that, I have made एक 85-90 pages का there is a PDF that I have made which basically contains all the different models in SBL. मतलब पेस्टल भी है, पोर्टस 5 forces भी है, SWOT भी है, टोज matrix भी है. So basically all of these models in one place. And then there is another sheet which I will be sharing with you today itself, It does a topic wise analysis. Suppose one very important topic in SBL is risk. So in that sheet, what I have done is I have looked at all the past papers और उसमें what questions have been asked on risk, जैसे risk register हो गया या heat maps हो गया या 3 lines of defense हो गया, उस पे there are videos that have been made. ठीक है, तो this sheet contains the frequency of risk register has been asked how many times, heat map has been asked how many times, XYZ thing has been asked how many times. It basically contains a summary of that. So after looking at this sheet, you will get some confidence कि यार although there are 26 readings on the study hub, not everything is that important. What is important has been highlighted for you. And let's build our answers from that. Today's session, I only want to sensitize you about how to approach the pre-seen material. I have sent you one pre-seen material today. Did you go through that? किया आपने?
Sir, actually was attending the other lectures, so was not able to go through it.
Yes.
Others, I'm not saying you have to have like 100% knowledge of that, but at least once did you try to open it? वरदान
Yes,
चलो
sir.
आप बताओ. What is the industry that they are talking about here?
Sir, it's about a Swanhill company, and they have given information about the board structure, the financial data, the dividends, and the profit. And
No. See, you have not heard my question. मेरा question क्या था? What is the industry? And
So
what is
it's
your answer?
manufacturing industry,
But manufacturing what?
specialized parts.
Oil rigs,
Oil rig.
construction of shore equipment
offshore
Oil
oil.
parts.
rigs.
Basically, it's construction of equipment, but that specifically oil rigs, right? Now it's a global manufacturer of specialist parts for use in the construction of offshore oil rigs. So it's into manufacturing, no doubt, but manufacturing of some parts that are basically for offshore oil rigs. Ab, what are oil rigs? Do you know? If you get into, I mean, oil extraction का जो activity है, it doesn't happen on the shore, right? It happens in the deep ocean. तो उसके लिए those plants are constructed in SBR. I give you that example for decommissioning cost. तो वो जो equipment that is set up in the ocean which helps you in extraction of oil, that is an oil rig. ठीक है? That is the first part. Now, let's have a look at what this information looks like. Acha, one more thing. Uh, Acha, there is no folder containing videos. There is a YouTube channel which has all these videos. There's a separate SBL playlist, SBL March 26. वहां पर है. ठीक है? And these sessions will be uploaded on the same day on the YouTube channel. So don't worry. ठीक है? So people who have missed out on sessions have no reason to worry. The videos will be uploaded, but not immediately after the class. I have other sessions also. उसके बाद these will get uploaded. Now, so Swanhill Company, this is the name of the specific entity which you are looking at. Pre-seen information is about, first of all, they give you information about the industry in which you are operating. ठीक है? उसमें technological developments, overview, challenges and risks, and then the information is about the specific company. What is the ownership and structure? Who are the directors? How do the operations work? Extracts from the website, then information on financials, and that is pretty much the end of pre-scene. This is a relatively smaller pre-scene as compared to what you get in the paper. I thought pehla wala, let's try to do something which is relatively manageable, and then let's go into something which is a little more in depth. ठीक है? अब before we get into analyzing pre-scene, you know how your paper is structured, right? There are 80 technical marks and 20 professional marks. Now, there are 5 professional skills that are tested. What are these skills? The skills are communication, analysis, evaluation, professional skepticism, and what is the fifth one? commercial acumen, right? Now, these five skills are tested throughout the paper, and there are different ways in which ACCA tests these. एक ही question में all skills will not be tested. The question will often specify, or question will always specify कि in this particular sub task, are we testing you on communication? Are we testing you on commercial acumen? Are we testing you on evaluation? What exactly are we testing you on? So ये information आपको it will be given to you, and then you have to structure your answer accordingly. I know you guys have not gone through, you know, the ACCA website, so let me take you there. ठीक है? And let me show you what exactly are these professional skills and what is the expectation that ACCA has from you. I will be showing you 4 short videos. ठीक है? These are proper ACCA resources. If I tell you to watch it on your own, I'm 100% confident आप नहीं देखोगे. So it's best कि मैं ही यहाँ पे दिखा देता हूँ so that there is no scope for confusion. ठीक है?
Communication in the workplace is about being able to speak to different stakeholders. They could be your manager, someone who works for you, a client, a supplier, or one of your colleagues. When having a conversation, we would adapt the way we speak according to who that person is. Similarly, if we needed to send an email to someone or draft a memo to staff, we would always think about the audience when drafting the communication. We would think about the tone, the language, the level of detail, etc. Communication requires you to inform your intended audience in a clear and persuasive manner through the appropriate medium while being sensitive to their needs. In order to express yourself convincingly and show credibility, you must have a good understanding of what your audience will regard as important, what concerns they need to address, and the level of understanding the audience has, both of technical issues and of the current situation. You will be expected to produce material in a variety of formats, such as reports, memos, emails, and presentation slides, and will need to know good practice for each. The main response formats can be found in an article on effective communication on the ACCA website. In your exam, you may be asked to do a slide presentation, including relevant bullet points and supporting notes to your company's board, highlighting the key benefits of using big data analytics for your company. The first step in structuring your answer is to identify and apply the appropriate presentation format. In this case, you will need to draw up a slide template with a clear header, followed by a bullet list and a separate section for accompanying notes. As you are addressing the company's board, you can assume that they have an adequate understanding of the business and its current needs. So the slides do not need to focus on background or definitions. This audience should be addressed using a respectful business tone. Once you have established your presentation format, you should then list the key benefits of big data analytics on the slide in short bullet points in order of priority and logic. Use the notes section to then elaborate and explain why the points on the bullet list are regarded as important benefits. Remember to present your answers in a professional manner, making points logically and progressively, avoiding repetition, as well as generally being clear, factual, and concise. In your exam, when you are required to demonstrate communication skills, ask yourself 3 questions. What is the required medium of delivery, and what template should I use to present my answer in the most professional format? What is my audience's level of understanding and how much information do they need? And finally, have you made your points in a logical and progressive order?
Now, let me show you what are the different formats that are there in SBL and which are, more often than not asked in your exams. Okay. Now, either you will be asked to prepare a report or you will be asked to, give slides. Slides पे भी, काफी बार there are questions that are tested. Or you might be asked to prepare a press note, a press release, something on those lines. Or the question might ask you to give like maybe a letter or a memo that has to be submitted to the management. Okay. So let's see what are all these different formats that can be tested in your SBL paper. Okay. Now, this is I will be sharing this sheet with you. Don't worry. You could either be asked to prepare a letter, email slash memo. Basically, make sure that you identify who the email has to be or the letter has to be addressed to, from whom is that letter going out, the date at which it has to be sent, and the subject matter, followed by the right salutation. Don't write words like respected sir and all of that because that's a very Indian way of doing things. Close with a sincerely. Make sure that if it is a letter, email, or a memo, there are three parts to it. One is your introductory paragraph where you introduce the topic at hand, which will basically be given to you in the task itself. Then the main body, which is your analysis of that particular situation, and then concluding remarks where applicable. But yes, three separate parts to the same answer is required. Okay, now if it is a report, then again it needs four parts, the to, from, and subject header. If you have the date information, then use it. Otherwise, set the context for writing that report, main body, and concluding comments or recommendations, but only if asked for. Don't do something that has not been asked in the paper. One mistake that students make is they start giving recommendations when those have not been asked. And if you do that, you lose marks on communication skill. What it indicates is you did not read the question ka requirement specifically. Okay. Now, if you were to think of, say, a press release basically is a very brief communication that goes from the company. Say, tomorrow I decide to launch a new course. I'm starting CA, for example. It's not. It's not a LinkedIn post or it's not an Instagram reel. It has to be very, very formal. A press release is basically to be circulated to media. So release date and time डाल दो. Short factual paragraphs which basically focus on the matter at hand, no extra description. And then, of course, do mention the fact, as in who has to be contacted for detailed information, the phone number and email. Okay. If the question is on risk register, हम देखेंगे there are certain questions. Rather, in every pre-seen material, हम एक risk register तो बनाते ही हैं because risk is something which is tested in every SBL paper. जैसे AFM में risk पे question compulsory है. AAA में there is a question on risk. Similarly, in SBL also there is always a question on risk. Okay. So give the title of the risk, the likelihood, that is in the probability of the risk measured on a scale of 1 to 5. The impact of that risk, again, depending on how severe that particular matter is. If there are fraud risk factors, maybe we'll have to talk about those. Uh, who is the process owner or risk owner and mitigating actions. But it is not prepared like this. This is the format given by ACCA. Ideally, we prepare that in a columnar format. So we write the title here, then we write the description here. Okay. Then we write down the impact here. Then process owner or risk owner we write here. Then date and then mitigating actions. That depends on what exactly have they asked, but it is basically presented in a columnar format. One thing that is fairly frequent in the SBL paper is in some tasks, they will ask you to prepare slides and accompanying notes. Now, what goes in a slide and what goes in an accompanying note is very important. Slide may see if you are making a presentation, that presentation is shown on the screen, maybe to the board of directors or to the senior management of the company. The main presentation cannot have long sentences or in-depth analysis. It should basically have pointers which will give you an idea of what is included. For example, say you are making a presentation about IAS 37 to the management. So in that presentation, what you will do is you will write down key to identify a provision. These are the four ingredients that are required. But understand, see, if you are talking to a big audience, you might not remember everything that you have to say. Now, there is a chance that you will end up forgetting something. So, have you seen people, they write stuff on a piece of paper when they are going for a speech? I mean, our leaders also do that in parliament, right? So, what are those? Those are speaker notes. कि वहां पे bullet points are there, but when I have to explain those bullet points, I need in-depth knowledge of that. So accompanying notes में basically ये information आता है कि the bullet points are in the slide. They cannot be too descriptive. They need not be like paragraphs and full sentences. In fact, break it short, make it as concise as possible, and then the accompanying notes will be in detail. Usually, you are asked to prepare 2 slides and 2 sets of accompanying notes. उतना आपको बनाना है. ठीक है. We'll see questions where we'll get an in-depth understanding of that. Then, there is something that is called as the project initiation document. This has not been asked that frequently, but we will, of course, be doing a question to understand how is the project initiation document prepared. Now, in most cases now, in the question, they specify, this is the format that we expect, or rather, these are the main columns that we expect in that particular answer that you are writing. So the way to construct your answer will mostly be understood through the question requirements itself. Question requirement में दिया रहता है कि what exactly are you supposed to do. So don't worry about that specific part. ठीक है. I will be sharing this sheet with you so that you understand how exactly is the communication skills. I mean, देखो, writing the correct format will fetch you some basic number of marks in communication skill. The second part that this woman spoke about, if you paid attention, she was saying that it has to be persuasive. As in, persuasive means you should be able to convince the other party. For example, if you are doing some pestle analysis, you should be able to convince why this particular factor has a greater impact on the success of the business as compared to something else. Okay. And what is also very important is the tone of the communication. Now imagine, say again, I'll keep on going back to that example of IAS 37 provision, because accounting is something which all of us are comfortable with. Suppose you have to explain what is a provision to a junior. Okay, you will write the answer in far more detail. You will explain by giving a lot of examples. You will first of all write down these are the four ingredients to define a provision. Then you will go into greater level of detail ki nahi, ye information, this is how you identify. But when you're talking to a senior, say for example, you are telling me, you don't have to explain now what is a provision. All you have to tell me is that yes, a provision needs to be created because there is a present obligation as a result of past obligating event, blah blah blah. You don't have to explain to me in depth ki array present obligation matlab so and so, and and probable means chance of happening is greater than chance of not happening. Yes, sir, you don't have to tell me why, because I am senior in terms of experience that way. So if you're addressing to the management, or if you are basically speaking to someone who is a couple of levels above you, then you don't have to go and tell him in detail, you know what, to open the door, I first walked right up to the door, then I turned the knob, then the door opened and I walked in. You don't have to do that. You just have to say, I walked into this particular meeting, I walked into this particular discussion. That's all. So, depending on who is your intended addressee, the form of communication will change. The words that you use in your answers, those words will also change. So, this is the first professional skill that is tested in your paper. Every day we look at one skill, and of course, when we start framing the answers, we'll understand in detail here, iska, where exactly do you gain marks, where exactly do you lose marks. I mean, on a broad level, you can assume that 20 marks for 5 skills. So each skill is worth 4 marks in the paper. Okay, that's not the case in other P level papers, by the way. AFM, AAA, ATX, and APM में the split is different. यहाँ पे the split is different. Okay, so don't really count on that. Up, look at this information. Now, for those who haven't read the pre-seen material, it's okay. I want you to take 2 to 3 minutes. Chalo, 2 to 3 minutes might be less. Can you take 5 minutes and read the industry information bit? What do I mean by industry information? यहाँ से start करो, start from introduction and read up to here. ठीक है? Read up to here, start from industry information, take 5 minutes. I'm sitting, probably fetch a glass of water and we'll resume. ठीक है? चलो. Now let's have a look. Swanhill is a global manufacturer of specialist parts for the use in the construction of offshore oil rigs. Trading as SHC, the company has been in business for over 100 years and is listed on the stock exchange of Eastlandia, the country in which it was originally formed. SHC has a June financial year and it is currently August 2007. So the industry is a very competitive one with constant innovation and development of new and improved products vital to success. SHC has currently got a 30% market share with their main rival called DBC at 25% with the remainder split across 12 much smaller organizations. Okay. So here you get to know something about the background of the company in the sense ki where does the company stand with respect to the overall market. So when you have this information, what you should start doing is you should start making your own notes. Now, we don't know what part of this information will actually be useful in the final answer, but at least start accumulating information in one place and फिर यूज होना होगा तो later on it will be put to use or it will get मतलब कुछ नहीं करेंगे उसका but we cannot just sit idle. यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? SHC has currently got a 30% market share with their main rival called DBC at 25% and the remainder split across 12 much smaller organizations. So, industry overview. Or rather, market share analysis. Let's call it that. ठीक है. Swanhill Company,
30%.
30%. Then
DBC 25.
DBC 25.
And then
And
12 others.
12 others, they make up the remaining. So basically, SHC seems like the market leader to me in this case. ठीक है, आगे. Technological developments, innovation is important to success, as are cost efficiencies in this highly competitive marketplace. Due to increasing environmental concerns in the oil industry and more vocal stakeholder groups, increasingly customers are looking for ways to improve their environmental credentials. A major potential advancement in the offshore oil rig industry is the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. Sensors placed within oil rigs and drilling equipment can enable real-time data collection, helping optimize performance and identify faults far quicker than before and even predicting when future faults may occur, reducing maintenance cost and downtime on the rigs. AI is helping engineers solve problems and faults quicker through the use of chatbots and machine learning by examining similar faults and why they occurred on rigs all over the world. This is your basic एक background आपको दे दिया है यहाँ पे. अब you might have a question कि यार I don't remember anything about Internet of Things. Or you might feel, you know what, I don't know what AI is, or I just have a very vague idea. For me, AI is Chat GPT. That's all. The point is, do not get disheartened or do not get discouraged if you don't remember what Internet of Things is or what artificial intelligence is. If you know, it's great. If not, see, that information is given to you. Sensors placed within oil rigs and drilling equipment can enable real-time data collection, helping optimize performance and identify faults far quicker than before, and even predicting when future faults may occur. While you might not know what is Internet of Things, IoT in or IoT usage in industry, whatever you can make from that paragraph, write it in short. Sensors,
Placed in rigs.
no, एकदम short में लिखो. Real time data collection. What is the meaning of real time? It collects data as and when the event is occurring. यहाँ पे event हुआ, यहाँ पे data collect हुआ. ठीक है. Then helping optimize performance. Then what after that?
Helping understanding what can be predict what can be what can go wrong in future.
So you have to make it short, right? What you should write is, see, this is how you should be making notes when you are going through any exhibit also, or any piece of information. All those theories that are uploaded are of less importance. You should develop the skill of making quick notes, because these will be helpful in framing the answers. What they have written is helping optimize performance, quick identification of faults, predicting future faults. I think my screen has frozen. Huh?
Told to remind about the recording.
I switched it on, but
Oh,
thanks.
yeah.
Quick identification of faults, prediction of future faults. ठीक है. Reducing maintenance cost and downtime. What is downtime? You know, sometimes when you try to log on to the HDFC app and the app doesn't work, you get a message from HDFC, you know, on this particular date, the app is not going to be operational from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. For example, that is downtime. The app is not operational. ठीक है. So reducing downtime, and what else are you reducing? Maintenance cost. ठीक है. अब understanding this much also is enough to answer your questions. You don't need an in-depth technical knowledge of what is Internet of Things, and it's okay if you don't know what AI is, as long as you are able to pick information from here. What have they written here for AI? AI is helping engineers solve problems and faults quicker through the use of chatbots and machine learning by examining similar faults and why they occurred on rigs all over the world. So, machine learning and chatbots, quicker solving of problems. AI usage in industry. Basically, machine learning. What does machine learning help you? Machine learning and chatbots. इससे क्या करेंगे? और quick solution of problems. ठीक है. You are getting to know what the industry is doing, not what the company is doing. Okay. Now, the oil drilling industry is also becoming more automated with with less human involvement and more robotic equipment and components. This is making drilling not only more efficient but also a lot safer, with health and safety a key consideration on any offshore oil rig. Up What can we take away from this? Something about robotic equipments and components bringing in efficiency, better health and safety. Now, let's talk about automation. What is it doing? Uh, robotics. इससे क्या हो रहा है? रोबोटिक्स से drilling is more efficient and safer. Plus, health and safety issues addressed better. और कुछ मत करो, then I'll tell you where to link it with the syllabus. Many suppliers of components are now offering virtual reality training to engineers on how to fit, install, and maintain components and equipment, which can be specifically challenging in the often harsh weather conditions found on offshore rigs. Virtual reality training can provide far more lifelike training while keeping engineers safe from harm. So, what is virtual reality? If you want to train engineers on how equipments work in a mine, one way of doing that is send them down the mine, let them go down into the earth, and then you are putting their safety at risk. Or you create with certain, just when people are learning how to drive, they have these simulated conditions in a driving school where they just get a feeling of how things are going to be on the road. Similarly here as well, uh, giving them that understanding of how the exact situation will be without putting them under the ocean or without putting them under them in that particular mine and not endangering their lives anymore. Many oil companies are trying to future proof themselves by investing in renewable energy. So more countries invest in cleaner energy and climate change impacting weather conditions around the globe. This is seen as the rise globally of greater use of solar, hydro, and wind power, with offshore wind farms often seen as potential replacements for offshore oil rigs. I mean, right now in 2026, the entire world is on fire because of oil, right? Venezuela, Russia, and the list is long. But we are not here to comment on geopolitics. Iran, it's all for oil. What else? So, just a quick note of what all do we need to be looking at. Virtual reality. Okay. What happens in virtual reality? Uh, training to engineers without endangering their lives. Okay. Training to engineers without endangering their lives. And you also know something about renewable energy. Okay, so write that down. Renewable energy. So you are using solar, then you are using wind power. Then what else are you doing? Other renewable sources?
Hydro.
Hydro is not a non-conventional source of energy, but ठीक है, ठीक है. Other renewable sources, what does it help you with? Just add a point here. ESG considerations. I think we have ESG in all the other papers also. SBR में भी sustainability है, AAA में भी है, AFM में भी है. Now here also. Now, they had also mentioned wind farms might become a replacement for oil rigs. ठीक है, we haven't looked at any models, we haven't done any other breakdown, ठीक है. Now look at the challenges and risks wala paragraph. Take a minute and tell me. See, I have already told you this is a shorter pre-scene, okay? This is not like a full-fledged pre-scene. I've taken a shorter example to get you a little comfortable. Then we'll go into a longer one. ठीक है. अब इसमें tell me, take 2 minutes if you need, but look at this data and tell me what are some of the challenges that this industry is facing. ठीक है. Take 2 minutes, think about it.
So, due to climate change and sustainability concerns rising, so due to this, offshore oil rigs are polluting the environment, burning emission norms, and also due to the oil spills in the ocean. So there is a harm to the nature around it, that is the wildlife and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And also the prices of oil are very volatile. So the
Okay. See, this is a fair point, Shubh, but can you put this in one line? Well, if you have identified 2, 3 risks, each risk should only be 1 point. Well, I don't want a big explanation right now. My question is identify the risk. My question is not describe the risk. Okay. So identify, put it in one line if possible.
Demand and supply influencing the oil prices.
Demand and supply. How is that a risk? Demand and supply always influence price.
Volatility of oil prices.
Volatility of crude oil prices. Okay. Then political and environmental factors. War, political unrest, climate change, fossil fuel concerns, causing many countries to invest more in renewable energies, and huge economic growth in parts of the developing world all impact the price of oil and hence the profitability of oil exploration and drilling, and therefore the demand from drilling components. So, if I have to put together my risks in one place, okay?
So maybe tell like here environmental risk also exists.
Yes, we can.
so also the availability of oil, like it is depleting day by day due to continuous rigging and
Okay. Then oil prices heavily influenced by war, political unrest, climate change, fossil fuels. Sorry, wars, political unrest. Tell us about it. Every day तो यही हो रहा है अभी.
Sir,
Then
can we in short write geopolitics here? Geopolitics
देखो,
and
but
climate.
see यहाँ पे they have specifically mentioned ना. तो who knows exhibit में maybe you have some information on this. So because they have specifically mentioned that, write it down. Then let's come here. ये हो गया, ठीक है. Another huge risk is that of environmental damage and ecological reputation, and often financial damage this can cause a business. So, environmental damage, ecolo adverse impact on ecological reputation, and financial damage. Oil spills can significantly damage local wildlife and harm water quality, with offshore rigs also causing a significant amount of greenhouse gases and air pollution. Many oil firms look to minimize the risk and damage done, but accidents can happen and the environmental cost and hence the reputational damage and financial penalties can be huge. Now, can you put these points, whatever you have observed as risks in this paragraph, इसको आप can you put it across in one point?
risk.
Yes, go ahead.
Then
Mm-hmm.
pri- volat pri- price volatility.
Okay.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you just repeat the question?
My question is, can you list down the risks one after the other? Identify the risks from second para.
Second para.
Oil spills causing damage to local wildlife and harm and water quality.
Oil spills causing damage to wildlife and water quality. Then
Sir, risk of accidents, cost of implementing fail-safe mechanisms.
Rigs causing a significant amount of greenhouse gases and air pollution.
risks causing significant greenhouse gas emissions plus pollution. Yes, Himanshu.
There is also compliance risk over here because if incidents such as the carbon emission or oil spill, this will potentially lead to breach of environmental laws. So it will also attract the government penalties, etc. So can we cite a compliance risk over here?
If so, first, don't go to your analysis or interpretation. Look at the data and comment. आपके points you can bring only when you have run out of points to give, right? Right now, reputational damage leading to financial damage, right? And penalties.
Sir, I had the doubt.
Hmm.
सर देखो ना आपने अभी जो ये रिस्क को जो आपने नोट डाउन किया लाइक योर क्वेश्चन वाज लाइक वी हैव टू गिव द लीस्ट ऑफ द रिस्क व्हिच आर इन्वॉल्वड इन दिस आर प्रीसीन.
Hmm.
So we told you like different kinds of the names of the risk, like financial risk, reputational risk, environmental risk. But you wrote the inside pointers like which are involved in this. Like now, suppose may you please switch the screen, sir.
Hmm.
सो से आपने मतलब देखो ना आपने अंदर के पॉइंट्स लिख दिए जैसे कि मतलब ऑयल स्पिल्स कॉजिंग डैमेज टू द वाइल्ड लाइफ एंड वाटर क्वालिटी सो
Hmm.
दिस विल कम अंडर एनवायरमेंटल रिस्क राइट.
हाँ, so what is the problem?
तो मतलब मतलब क्वेश्चन ऐसा है कि जब हम लोग ये जब पॉइंटर्स बनाते हैं तो मतलब
Hmm.
सर खाली ऐसे रिस्क के नाम ही नोट डाउन करने चाहिए या आपने जैसे अभी ये मतलब ऐसे अंदर वाले पॉइंट्स लिखे उसको उसको नोट डाउन करना चाहिए.
एक तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इसमें इतना कुछ अंदर वाला है नहीं. अगर आप सिर्फ ऊपर ऊपर से लिखेंगे तो अगेन यू विल हैव टू गो एंड रीड द मटेरियल ना. The whole point of making notes right now is to make sure that you don't have to read the 11 pager document again, right? So there is
Yes, sir.
no
I
one
understand.
particular way or one standard way of doing things. Whatever works for you. This is what works for me because now after doing this, I don't have to go and read the material again. See, I'm repeating, this is not a technical paper. ये लल्लू पेपर है. ठीक है. ये you don't there is no one perfect way of doing things here. Somebody who has spent 4 months doing SBL and somebody who has spent 4 days doing SBL might end up getting the same marks. In fact, somebody who has prepared only for 4 days oftentimes ends up getting more marks than somebody who devoted 3 months to it, which is why when I say go with the flow, I literally mean that. Go with the flow. Don't restrict yourself from collecting the points, and don't Keep the syllabus in mind right now. Abhi just look at this information and see what all you can make of it. ठीक है? अब critical components and equipment on the oil rigs must be reliable and easy to replace and maintain, with fail-safe mechanisms often incorporated to prevent spillages. These concerns, alongside the drive by many governments to go carbon neutral, means that getting permission for new offshore oil rigs is becoming difficult, hence restricting future growth in the industry. यहाँ पे आप क्या बोलेंगे? What will you say here?
Governments insisting to go carbon neutral, restricting the scope of expansion.
Okay.
The oil rig equipments and components should be reliable and replaceable to be carbon neutral and go according to the government laws.
Okay, but यहाँ पे can you explain the risk a little better?
Getting permission is different, so difficult. So
Yes.
I mean, causing the growth, restricting the growth, future growth. Like
Fair enough. Anything else, Tahir?
So fewer future opportunities, that can be the exact risk.
Okay. Pari, anything from you?
Sir, we can go for entry barrier or a restriction for expansion.
Entry barrier or restriction for expansion. Okay.
So,
Elaborate, please.
so the components and equipments that would be reliable and easy to replace would prevent spillages and critical damages to the environment.
Okay. Chalo, guys, take a moment. I'll just need a moment. तब तक आप पढ़ो. Analyze that and then we'll discuss the last point together. ठीक है? Take a minute. I'll be back in a moment. Critical components and equipment on the oil rigs must be reliable and easy to replace and maintain, with fail-safe mechanism often incorporated to prevent spillages. These concerns, alongside the drive by many governments to go carbon neutral, means that getting permission for new offshore oil rigs is becoming more difficult, hence restricting future growth in the industry. अब इतने बड़े paragraph को how you should summarize in one place is basically.
Sir, I have written something like, can we say?
Wait. Restriction of future growth. Why? Difficulty in getting government permission. And what are the reasons? Critical components not safe, or sorry, not reliable, and difficult to replace. Plus, governments want to go carbon neutral. Okay. So you are basically putting together that entire point in one place so that later, agar, in the exhibits, if some other information is given to you, you can correlate that with this one. Now tell me, Pari.
Sir, according to the three paras, can we say that there is a political and public pressure to go eco-friendly and carbon neutral to like maintain the company reputation among the competitors?
Yeah, we can. We can write that, no problem. कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. Anything else that you guys feel that we can incorporate in the risk part? सोच के बताइए. Think you have had enough time to think also.
Can we say loss to market share due to reputational damage?
Loss of market share due to reputational damage? Yes, of course. Why not?
Sir, equipment failure can lead to accidents and majorly a downtime.
We have written that risk of accidents, cost of prevention. Then
It is risk of going out of business because of the more uh, regarding the environment, like moving towards renewable energy.
ठीक है. Oh, very good. That's a very good point. Competition from wind farms.
Competition from sustainable sources of energy. Can we write like that?
Or yeah, losing market share again. Wind farms slash renewable sources. Fair enough.
So can we add technological risk as fail-safe mechanism should be required?
Okay.
Sir, can we say there is a financial risk while designing the safe systems and highly reliable components and equipments?
अब वही point repeat हो रहा है.
Can we say that like SHC is listed on a stock exchange, so there is a risk of significantly drop in share price due to the concerns in
No, no, no,
investors?
no, 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 no. You are now speculating and making up points on your own. After reading the data, the only points that you should note down are the ones that are given to you. Don't add your own flavor to it. Don't interpret the data. Don't interpret the information. Don't add your own understanding. Only go with what is written. Otherwise, क्या होगा? We end up over explaining answers, which happens in AAA also. But यहाँ पे the risk is even more because borders are not defined ना आपके जो मन में आएगा you can end up writing in the answer, and that is where we lose marks because our answer does not take into account all the data given in the question. We just frame answers on the basis of what we think should happen, right? Or our interpretation of something, but that is not what they expect out of you. ठीक है. What they expect out of you is जो data दिया है, are you able to just focus on that? Your answer, you will lose marks in two cases. Situation one, you don't include anything from that data. ठीक है. You just give a very generic answer. That is again when you lose marks. Second is when you overanalyze the data. You add your own flavor to it. अब fall in share price ऐसा कहीं दिया नहीं है ना अभी. तो जो दिया नहीं है या जिसका कोई see, I'm not saying what you are saying is wrong. It's absolutely right. If the business suffers financial damages, reputational damages, share price will fall. But what is that? That is an extension of logic on the basis of what you know in real life. But that is not what the answers expect from you. What the answers expect from you is कि ये जो information दिया है, how can you use that information and improve the quality of your answer? ठीक है. Now, come here. Company information, ownership and structure. ठीक है. एक बार ये देखो तो and tell me what can you what are some of the points that come to your notice about the company? Is it a closely held company? Is it a family company? Does it have a large number of shareholders? क्या information दिया है? Look at the data. Think about it for a minute, then tell me, we'll write it down. कुछ किया आइडेंटिफाई? चलो. The Swanhill Company was a community effort that resulted in the creation of the company in 1907 in the town of Swanhill. Jim Swanson had returned with his family, having spent 20 years working overseas as the first wave of oil booms hit parts of the Western world. Time pass information. Around the same time, Jim's close friend PJ Dixon created a machine part for local water mills that was able to improve both efficiency and reliability. Jim's experience meant that he soon recognized that this invention could equally be applied to the new drilling processes used by companies looking to extract petroleum from newly discovered oil reserves. Together with funding from other associates based in Swanhill, the friends created Swanhill Company, which was run collectively and successfully by members of Swanhill community for over 75 years before listing on the country's international stock exchange. The company is now managed by a board of directors responsible for a number of executive areas. Okay. यहाँ पे, see, a lot of it is time pass information. Can you tell me one thing that is your biggest takeaway? That earlier it was run collectively by members of the community for 75 years before it got listed on the country's international stock exchange. ठीक है. बाकी I think everything is just background noise in my opinion. Company information run collectively by members of Swanhill community for 75 years, then listed on stock exchange. ठीक है, आगे देखते हैं. बताइए. Current board of directors, have a look at that. SHC has a combination of executive and non-executive directors whose focus is to ensure the ongoing success of the company. Guys, 1 second. So tell me, how many executive directors are there?
Seven.
Seven.
How many non-executive?
Seven.
7. Does it appear balanced to you? If you remember something about board structures, okay? Or the chairperson, should he be independent or should he be an employee of the company?
Independent.
Independent.
Independent. Do you see that he is independent? मतलब दिख रहा है कुछ?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what do you observe?
So, Ellison Manila, non-executive chairman.
I
See,
think she's not independent, right?
who is not independent?
Alison, the chairman.
So she is
Chairperson
independent
is not.
because she is an NED.
She's a
She should
non-executive
not be involved
person,
in
right?
NED and ED. Like she should be separate.
Okay. And how can she be separate? So, यहाँ पे see board composition वैसे तो looks okay. There are executive and non-executive directors. There is an employee representative. Plus there is a shareholder representative, right? Now, what you should be focused on is अभी जैसे assuming that you are reading the pre-seen material for examination. So you need a deeper understanding of board structure. ठीक है, so you should read the entire topic on board of directors. ठीक है, you should read the entire topic on board of directors and try to understand कि you मतलब what is the ideal composition, what is the ideal composition of the board. You should understand that. Then how should the split be? Then who is the right choice for chairman? This analysis should happen at your end. Then are all functions adequately represented? ठीक है, so as in, do we have people from all departments? Is there a person from finance? Is there a person from HR? Is there a person from other departments? So, basically, you should try to understand that. So, open that particular topic in your study hub if you want and go through it carefully. Okay. Now, come back to distribution and sales. The company provides dozens of different components to hundreds of different construction businesses around the world. Its best-selling product is CAS4, a necessary component in controlling underwater pressure in offshore oil rigs. SHC is the market leader in this type of product and it provides the majority of SHC's revenue and profit. Now, what is the name of the product? CAS4. Okay. Distribution and sales. CAS4. Highest selling product, market leader in this category. ठीक है, then brings in majority of revenue and profit. Do you see a risk with this particular product CAS4? I'll take you back to the sales and distribution thing. इसको देखो and tell me, do you see any risks with respect to that?
The dependency on a single product for the most of its revenue.
Single product dependence for most of its revenue. Okay. Clarify further.
Okay, so here it is written as it is a market leader in producing that CAS4, and it contributes to the majority of the revenue and the profits that the company is earning from only selling or supplying that CAS4 equipment. So there should be a diversification of products, and they should be specializing into multiple products, but they have only specialized, or their best selling is only a single particular product which is contributing to a large chunk of revenue and profit.
Okay. So there is single product dependence right now. If this product shuts down, or if the market conditions change and there is some new competitor who comes in, I think this product which brings in the most revenue, if something happens to this particular product, then your revenues will be hit and your profit will get impacted immediately. So single product dependence is a major problem. Single product dependence might hit revenues and profits if another competitor emerges in the market, or sales reduce for any other reason.
So, manufacturing or supply issues may lead to like impact on company's income.
Can you elaborate thoda sa?
Like if there are a lot of products and the manufacturing or supply is stopped, then like it would directly impact to the company's income if the company is not able to provide the products on time or something.
Again, you are deviating from the data given to you, है ना? जो
Hmm.
जितना दिया है उसके बेसिस पे ही you should put points together. Don't add your interpretation. Just go with the facts that are given to you. ठीक है? So ये point include मत करना. If later there is some information to that effect, then we can include. Otherwise, avoid doing that. अब ये देखिए operations and processes. A major opportunity for the redesign of CAS4 has recently presented itself to the company. SHC have discovered a way known as the sync method, which will enable it to produce CAS4 at a lower unit cost and in much higher volumes than the current process. It would also produce lower unit environmental emissions and would substantially improve the reliability of CAS4 product. This has the potential to have a massive impact on CAS4 sales and SHC's share in this market. SHC believes this is far ahead of what rivals can achieve. What can you pick from here?
Sir, with new designs and technology to the same product, it can attract more customers.
Okay.
Higher profit margin, technological edge in the market.
Higher profit margin and technological edge in the market. Okay.
Achieving the higher market edge and competitive advantage.
Okay. So, opportunity for redesign. Okay. Let's talk about that. Opportunity for redesign. Hiten, please tell me your point.
Uh, Increase in the profit margins since the cost might be reduced.
So, reduction in cost, increase in profit margin. I think Mansi, you had something to say. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. So achieving the high market share and competitive advantage.
Okay. High market share, competitive advantage. High market share and competitive advantage. Then,
Sir, it can dominate the market due to cheap pricing and
but high market share
high
आ गया ना, तो let's not repeat the same thing again and again. ठीक है? Lower environmental emissions. We can write about that. Lower environmental emissions. Then,
Sir,
आगे बोलिए. Sir,
sir,
क्या?
we can say reduction in cost, achieving economies of scale because it says uh, in much higher volumes it can produce after the redesign.
ठीक है. Reduction in cost. Higher volumes. Due to higher volumes, benefit from economies of scale. ठीक है? Fair enough?
Sir, can we say that this new redesign would be a technological barrier and it would make new firms difficult to enter the market?
Mm, let's take you back here. Why would you say so? I mean, ठीक है, आपका point बहुत fair है. But what made you think about that?
Because no other competitor has still used this design or and the redesign is being built in itself in the company. So like if that product goes viral and has a higher profit margins, so the other firms would have be difficulty in entering the market.
Right, and this is basically SHC believes this is far ahead of what rivals can achieve. Very good. So, stay ahead of rivals. Basically, that means drive competition out of the market. ठीक है?
So will this point come under competitive advantage?
It will, it will. I'm going to give you an additional task now after this, where I would want you to evaluate it from different perspectives. जैसे balanced scorecard and multiple different points I'll tell you. But is everyone with me so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Have
sir.
Yes,
you
Yes, sir.
tell me, have we looked at any specific SBL chapter or any specific model or anything from the study hub or uh, anything from the study text so far? कुछ देखा हमने अभी तक? Did we look at
no,
any?
sir.
No.
No,
No.
sir.
And we don't know what questions are going to come because this is just the pre-seen material. Questions we'll see tomorrow when we look at the exhibits. Tomorrow and day after, we'll be solving a question based on this pre-seen. What I want to emphasize is all that pressure which you are building in your own mind that, oh, you know what, I need to remember this particular topic or I need to learn something by heart. Some people did message me that we don't know what to learn. That's the whole point. There is nothing to learn. Now, I'll tell you, last quarter, around 38 of the 54 students who appeared with me, 38 of them cleared, and they cleared with a very good score. One student specifically, his name is Harsh, he got 75 in SBL. And the one thing that he did religiously was he stuck to the pre-seen material, the analysis that we had done, but he did not attach too much importance to it. As in, uska importance in the overall scheme of things is only 20%. And with respect to the remaining part, he paid a lot of attention on how I had solved three papers last time also, which are there on the YouTube channel. He specifically paid attention to framing of the answer and the various models and all of that that I have applied. So if you do just that, also you will be able to clear the paper. If you want, I can invite him to one of the sessions and you can have a discussion with him and ask him how he prepared, because as a student, naturally the perspective is very different. As a faculty, I will keep on saying कि अरे easy है, easy है, easy है, and you will constantly doubt me because you will feel कि अरे he doesn't have to write the paper, so it's easier for him to say easy hai, why bother? So that's not the point. If you want, I'll bring him to one of these sessions and you can ask your questions and you will get a student's perspective on how again you should prepare for the paper. Right now, there are certain tasks that I'm going to give you. Okay. Now, what are those tasks? I want you to go through the website extracts and I want you to make a list of the vision and mission of the company. Okay. Also, try to write down what are the values by which the company works. Okay. These are the three things that I want you to do. Don't spend too much time on the financials part, that is not important. Along with that, I will also give you a list of models that I want you to analyze. In the sense, I'll tell you to do pestle analysis. I'll ask you to do Mendelow's matrix. I'll ask you to basically, cover all of these points. so that एक आपको भी you will feel that you have also participated, you will also look at the data differently, you will understand who the different stakeholders are. So let that be another activity that you do today. ठीक है. One, vision, mission and values, three things that you have to note down from the company website extracts. Remember, vision and mission are one line, huh? Whereas values could be 5 6 different values or 10 different values. For example, vision एक ही लाइन का होता है, mission भी एक ही लाइन का होता है. ठीक है. So see if you can identify that, and along with that, and I will put all of this homework on the group, so don't worry. Yes, Tahir.
Sir, I had this doubt about pre-scene material. I have heard from a lot of people about the relevance of pre-scene, XYZ, other things. So, sir, can you clarify upon that part, that how much it is important to, as in I want to ask, that questions will be made specifically from pre-scene, or we have to answer with reference to just the exhibits?
Around 80 to 85% of the paper that you solve will be based purely on exhibits. ठीक है. Pre-scene is just, it's like a wrapping paper that you put on your on a gift, right? Why do faculties and including me, why do we emphasize so much on pre-scene? We also want views, na? We also want people to like our post. We also want people to watch our video. So when faculties are talking about it, the reason is because we want visibility. But as a student, you should know that it's only 20% critical for the paper. Remaining 80% is going to be on exhibits, or rather even more. So don't get carried away. And my sincere recommendation to you will be don't watch 10 लोगों का pre-scene. If you trust me and my process, watch my pre-scene. If you want to watch somebody else's pre-scene analysis, watch that. There is no problem. But if you, मेरा pre-scene 7 से 8 घंटा चलता है. See, यहाँ पे I'm doing it in 2 hours because this is a shorter version, plus this is not exam oriented, right? This is a mock paper, this is not a real exam paper. ये मैंने एक short paper लिया है. Real analysis हम पूरा फाड़ के उसमें सारे different models सब fit करेंगे. Go through that once, go through those notes, but beyond that, I would recommend you not to look at anybody else's pre-scene. I probably do one of the longest pre-scenes that are conducted. If you check on YouTube, I conduct one of the longest analysis that is possible. 6 7 घंटा मेरा सेशन चलता है. So stick with that. That is more than enough. जितना आप ज्यादा देखोगे उतना आपका टाइम वेस्ट होगा. Watching 10 pre-scene is not adding 10 marks to your answer script. Okay, so अगर वैसा होता तो I would have said कि चलो भाई जाके देखो 10 लोगों का. It doesn't help. That is
Sure,
my
sir.
sincere
Got that.
recommendation.
Thank you, sir. And one more thing, okay, sir, if I'm, let's say, answering for requirement one, so I have to take my answer just from the exhibit, or also I have to refer to pre-scene material for that?
Again, the answers, see, the good part is that one question along with the 2 3 sub tasks that are there, that task they specifically mention ki refer exhibit 1. If not, usually the split is ki ek exhibit pe ek hi task hota hai, and you rarely have to go to the pre-scene. Most of the information to answer that particular task is given in the exhibit itself, so you don't even have to jump between exhibits. ऐसा भी नहीं है कि अरे कुछ exhibit 2 से उठाना है, कुछ exhibit 1 से उठाना है, वो भी नहीं करना है. It is, everything is there in one exhibit only. Task 1 is in exhibit 2, for example. Task 2 is in exhibit 3. Task 3 is in exhibit 4. Simple. That way.
Okay, sir, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, and if there is one task in which I find that some of the pre-scene notes we have made is relevant and I want to put it in my answer, so do I have to mention that this information is taken from the pre-scene?
No. Nothing of that sort.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And you guys let me know when you, if you want to have a conversation with the student who scored 75, I'll call him to one of the sessions and you can ask him whatever questions you have. ठीक है?
Yes. Okay, sir.
चलो, thank you, and I will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. 6 का 6:15 हो सकता है, ठीक है? चलो, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.